What up, everybody? How are you guys doing today? It is cool to be here. All right, I got that right. What's up? What's up? What's up? I don't know. How can I get these where I'm looking like at both of you guys? I don't know. Maybe put that one back there. Maybe. All right, what's up? So today I'm sharing with you about job costing. What's up, King? What's your name? Where are you tuning in from? So here's the thing. And the reason I'm sharing is because I had a new client come to me, and we were talking about something else, but what happened is after the fact of our conversation, they had a project that they had completed, and we were talking about how to price, do the estimates of a project. And so my question was, well, did you make a profit on your last project? And they did not know because they said, well, we didn't job cost that project and we don't know how to do it. So I kind of broke it down for them and shared with them how you can job cost after the fact, right? To see if that last project you had was profitable. And I mean, if you have multiple projects, you can use it on all of them, right? But at some point you want to set it up and be proactive instead of doing it after the fact, right? Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. How to job cost after the fact. So if this is something that you need, grab some paper because I'm going to break it down for you really quickly. All right. And the reason for job costing is one, most of you people know, right? You want to know if one, the job was profitable, right? Were you over budget? And of course, there's a lot of different things you can look at or that you should be tracking if you're proactive, right? To assure that you're staying within budget, right? And so this one is kind of based off of their scenario and the things that they needed to go back and track, okay? So, but it should give you an idea, right, of what you need to track. So here we go. So they had a project. It was a one-day project. They didn't track any of the costs prior to, although, they had the information, right? They just didn't compile it to get the information that they needed to see, one, if they made a profit on the project, right? And, where the expenses went, because they did have some expenses going into the project, right? So the first thing I said, okay, well, look and see how much money did you make off the project, right? That is a given. You should know how much they handed you in return for the service, right? Whether they gave you a check or wire transfer, however you received the money, right? They paid you for the service. So how much was that, right? That's a fixed number. You should know what that is, okay? That's the income. And then you have to compile all of your expenses. Now, here's where it gets tricky because the longer you wait to do this, right, you may forget some things, right? If you paid with cash, that's easy to forget, right? And especially if you don't get a receipt. If you have multiple people working on the project, right, and they are able to go and, purchase things towards that project and they're not job costing it, that's another way that you can lose out on those expenses. So here are some of the expenses you should be tracking. As it relates to that project, all expenses, any expenses, right? I mean, the list could go on and on, but you want to track, and as it related to them, they wanted to track, one, the receipts, right, of things they had purchased for that particular project, okay? They needed to also track any supplies, any materials they had to purchase for that project. If somebody had to run out off of the project, right, to go purchase something, they needed to know what those expenses were. If they had to get anything from vendors or vendors delivered supplies or materials, they need to track all of that. So any expenses, receipts, supplies, materials, all of that stuff. Here's the other thing that you have to track, and this is where it can get a little bit tricky because people forget. You have to track your man hours, right? Not only do you have to track your man hours on the job, on that particular project, but you also have to track how much are you paying the individuals that are on the job, right? So, for example, maybe you have one guy, you're paying him $20 an hour, another one you're paying $10 an hour, another one you're paying $15 an hour. Well, you have to track their hours, right? Because their pay going towards that particular project is going to be different. One, because their rate of pay is different. And then two, based off of however many hours they put in on that particular project. So you got to break it down. You got to track that. And then if you pay per diem, right, meaning travel time to and from, gas, anything like that, for your workers or even for yourself, you need to track that, right? What was that cost? And that's a cost that a lot of times people forget, is the per diem or gas, things like that, right? So you got to track all of that, all expenses associated with the project, right? Once you have all that compiled, the next thing is basic math. Basic math. We're going back to what you learned in kindergarten and first grade, adding and subtracting, right? So the only thing you have to do at this point is take your expenses after you totaled them all up and subtract it from the income, right? And that will tell you whether that project was at a profit or a loss, right? So of course, if the number is negative, then you were at a loss, right? If it was positive, then you had a profit. Now, in looking at that, you can say, okay, well, did I profit as much as I would like? Right? So that number gives you a basis of doing more analysis, right, of the whole scheme of things as far as your budget, your pricing, and your profit, right? Looking to see how much profit you're banking. And if you're losing money somewhere, right, you can do that by looking at the information, what it's giving you. And if you break it down like I showed you, it'll kind of tell you where the money went, right? You can categorize it, okay? So, again, ask yourself, were you over budget or under budget, right? That's very, very key on each and every project, because what will happen is you'll continue to have projects, right, if you're not doing this, and be over budget, and then before you know it, you know, 5,000 here, 2,000 here, or shoot, 1,000 here, 1,000, it adds up, right? It can add up really, really quickly. So you have to stay on top of your job costing, right? And here's the thing, you may still have a couple of problems, even after I shared this with you, right? You're not, one, I can tell you, right, if this was you and this is your scenario and you're doing it after the fact, one of the problems you have is that you're not tracking your money, right? You're not staying on top of your job costing, and you're not being proactive with that, right? The other problem is that maybe you were over budget, right? Or you don't know if you're over budget on your projects or not because you haven't did it before. So need I say more, right? You got to be on top of the tracking. You got to be proactive with it, right? And you got to make sure those numbers work, and you got to work those numbers and stay on top of it to make sure you bring the project in under budget or within budget, right? Under is always better, right? Because that's more profit. Okay. So if you have any questions about that, how to job cost, how to set it up for your business. And here's the thing, a lot of this you're going to do by paper right now, I just told you, but you can definitely do all of this within your accounting system. So if you need any help with that, you have questions around job costing, maybe you just need your back-end accounting system set up, right, and a job costing workflow set up for your business, reach out to me. You can go to askfeliciastreeter.com. That's ASK, FELICIASTREETER.com. I'll put the link below in the comments, and you know, if you have any questions, you want to reach out, talk further about it, and see how we can getting your projects, one, being proactive in your job costing and tracking it before and during the project, right, as well as making sure you're bringing your projects in within or under budget. Reach out to me at askfeliciastreeter.com. All right, so if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and pop them in. I'll answer those really, really quickly for you guys. I will give it a second. If you have any questions, run them to me. Any questions? You know, I'll stay as long as you have questions. Any questions? All right. Well, again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out over at askfeliciastreeter.com. We can definitely have a conversation. I can share with you some of the strategies that are working with the clients that I am currently working with and have worked with in the past. And I'm sure they'll work for you too. So reach out. All right. Awesome. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have an awesome rest of your evening. Bye-bye.